At 22:04 local time, July 9th, 2025, the first alert blares across Ukraine's western skies. In Kyiv, air raid sirens slice through the summer night. And in a command center deep underground, a single word flashes across the screen: mass launch. 728 drones, 13 missiles. They're coming. From the Black Sea to the Belarusian border, radar operators brace for impact. On screens, tiny blips swarm like insects. Shahed clones, cheap, deadly, and fast, paired with decoy drones, some carrying chemical payloads. It's the largest drone strike Ukraine has ever seen. Inside a Patriot missile battery near Ternopil, a crew chief slams his fist on the console. This is it. Fingers fly over the controls. Target locks. Systems hum. The launcher tilts skyward. The record tonight isn't how many drones Russia sent. It's how many Ukraine is about to shoot out of the sky. The first wave hits at 22:17. Over the Carpathians, drone formations split, swarming towards Lutsk, Ternopil, Zhytomyr, and Khmelnytskyi. Russian Garin 2 drones, Shahed knockoffs, lead the charge, flanked by decoy drones without warheads. They're not flying blindly. Each drone has a simple mission code. Overwhelm defenses, distract radars, bleed Ukraine's interceptors dry. Some carry explosives, others, chemical payloads, designed to cause chaos even if shot down. By 22:30, Ukrainian air defense reports an unprecedented number: 728 airborne drones, 13 missiles. It shatters the July 4th record of 550. The plan is clever. Launch cheap decoys first. Force the Patriots and interceptors to reveal positions. Send in heavier drones next, hoping gaps appear. Finally, unleash the missiles. Fast, precise, and aimed at critical infrastructure. From Kyiv to Dnipro to Mykolaiv to Cherniv. 10 regions go dark under raid alerts. Sirens wail. Anti-air guns crackle. Civilians huddle in shelters, listening to the distant thud of intercepts. Near the Polish border, NATO scrambles jets. Polish, Romanian, and Slovakian radars flicker to full alert. This isn't just a Ukrainian problem anymore. One wrong move, one misfired missile, and NATO's Article 5 hangs in the balance. But Ukraine's not folding. Not tonight. The first drones fall by 22:35. Patriots fire. Interceptor drones take off, and the sky over Ukraine lights up. By 22:35, Ukraine's air defense network roars to life. Near Ternopil, a Patriot battery missile spits out interceptors at breakneck speed. Each launch is a punch of flame and thunder, the kind that rattles windows 20 kilometers away. The MIM-104 Patriot isn't just another missile system. It's a hunter. Its radar sweeps hundreds of kilometers, tracking incoming threats, prioritizing targets, and guiding interceptors with terrifying precision. Tonight, it's feeding on drones. Further south, interceptor drones scramble. These are small, agile, and built for one purpose: meet the Shahed clones mid-air and take them out. Above Kyiv, radar jammers pulse, flooding the skies with interference, breaking drone guidance links. Ukraine's strategy isn't brute force, it's layered defense. Patriots handle the biggest, fastest threats. Interceptor drones swarm the rest. Jammers confuse. Anti-air guns sweep the low flyers. Every layer buys precious seconds. Every layer increases the kill count. By midnight, reports roll in. 296 drones shot down, 415 jammed or vanished from radar. 7 missiles destroyed. The rest, still coming. Operators wipe sweat from their brows, swap out missile canisters, reboot systems pushed to their limits. Inside a command bunker near Lutsk, a colonel leans over the map. "We hold here," he says. Fingers trace the defense lines, showing where gaps are closing and where they're tearing open. This isn't a flawless victory. No system is perfect. But Ukraine's air defense, rebuilt piece by piece with international support, is showing what it's made of. And the Patriots? They're proving why every commander on Earth wants them. To outsiders, the Patriot system looks like a boxy truck with a tilting launcher. To Ukraine, it's a lifeline. And to Russian drones tonight, it's death on rails. Once a target is locked, the MIM-104 missile roars off the launcher at nearly Mach 5. That's 5 times the speed of sound. Fast enough to cross 160 kilometers in under 2 minutes. The missile carries a proximity warhead. It doesn't have to hit the drone dead on, it just has to get close enough to shred it with a blast of shrapnel. But it's not just about speed. Patriots talk to each other. One radar scans, another locks, another fires. If one site's overwhelmed, another picks up the slack. It's like a giant invisible net stretched across the sky. And here's the kicker. The Patriots weren't even guaranteed. Just months ago, political fights held up new deliveries. Now, they're the backbone of Ukraine's defense. Every intercepted drone tonight carries a silent message. We're still here, and you're not still breaking through. On the ground, it's a different war. Civilians, meanwhile, live by the soundscape. They know the difference between the hollow thump of outgoing missiles, the rippling crack of anti-air guns, and the distant pop of interception. They know when it's time to run deeper underground. In Kyiv, hospital generators hum to life. In Chernihiv, firefighters wait in stations knowing that they'll be the first on scene when the debris hits. School teachers message parents telling them classes are cancelled. Not that anyone's sleeping anyway. Even outside Ukraine, tensions run deep. Polish radar operators stare at screens just across the border, aware that some of these drones are less than 100 miles away. NATO fighter jets circle, watching, waiting. For civilians, it's hours of waiting, praying, and listening. Above all, it's a night none of them will forget. Across the border in Poland, the atmosphere shifts from tense to electric. At Malbork Air Base, pilots race to their jets. F-16s roar to life, turbines screaming into the dark. Radar stations in Poland, Romania, and Slovakia track the incoming storm, not just to monitor but to prepare. Even if one drone crosses the line, NATO's on the hook. By midnight, Polish and Romanian fighters are in the air, not to shoot, yet, but to shadow. AWACS surveillance planes circle high, relaying every moment across the theater. Ground-based air defenses shift to alert posture. Near Rzeszów, just miles from Ukraine, Patriot batteries are spun up, ready to fire if needed. In Brussels, NATO command holds emergency calls. This isn't just Ukraine's problem anymore. One stray missile, one drone drifting off target could spark an international incident. Article 5. The commitment that an attack on one is an attack on all looms large in every conversation. For now, restraint rules. Fighter pilots watch the radar lines, ready to move but ordered to hold. Military planners quietly adjust the rules of engagement. Diplomats draft midnight statements. On the ground, NATO's message is clear: we're watching. And if the war comes 1 inch west, we're ready to respond. But everyone knows tonight's outcome could have looked very different with just one system failure, one miscalculation. In a factory deep inside Russia, machines hum without pause. These aren't Iranian imports anymore. Russia now builds its own Garan 2 drones, Shahed copies, stamped out in brutal numbers. Analysts estimate 1,000 units a night, cheap and disposable. For Moscow, it's a numbers game. The July 8th and 9th assault wasn't random. It was a calculated saturation strike. First, launch waves of decoy drones, some without warheads, to drain the Ukrainian forces. Then, push in Shahed variants, loaded with high explosives or even more sinister, chemical payloads designed to scatter damage even when intercepted. The primary targets are Ukraine's western cities, Lutsk, Ternopil, chosen not for just their infrastructure but for their proximity to NATO. Send a message: we can touch your border, anytime. Power stations, railway hubs, military depots, fuel storage, all in the crosshairs. But there's another layer. Russian tactics are evolving. Some drones fly high, drawing missile fire. Others skim at treetop level, trying to sneak through radar gaps. A few deliberately lag, arriving late, hoping defenses are too exhausted to stop them. In military circles, it's called stacked attack theory. Wave after wave, each designed to expose new weaknesses. And tonight, Russia's testing it live. Yet, even as Ukraine counts interceptions, Russia's watching too. Every drone that makes it through, every missile fired, every radar turned on, it's all intelligence, mapping Ukrainian defenses, probing NATO reactions, refining the next strike. For Moscow, success isn't measured only in explosions. It's measured in pressure, chaos, and the slow grind of exhausting an enemy stretched thin. This wasn't just another night of war. This was a message. The timing wasn't accidental. Less than 24 hours earlier, President Trump had announced a fresh shipment of Patriot systems to Ukraine, stating bluntly, "We no longer hesitate." For Moscow, the response came not with words, but with drones. Military analysts saw the patterns immediately. The July 8th and 9th strike wasn't about battlefield gains, it was about a political theater, hitting western Ukraine, within 100 miles of NATO borders, forced Europe's attention. It challenged the West. You send Patriots, we send chaos. But there was more. Russian forces deployed decoy drones at an unprecedented scale, deliberately burning through Ukraine's expensive interceptors. They mixed in chemical and warhead drones not to destroy cities, but to test response protocols, medical readiness, and public panic levels. It was psychological warfare wrapped in plastic and propellers. Inside Ukraine, commanders whispered the same worry. This feels like a rehearsal, a test not just of missiles but of endurance. How long can Ukraine keep up this tempo? How long before its allies tire? And for NATO, the attack raised a chilling question. If this saturation strike is aimed just short of the border, what's next? A miscalculation? A deliberate nudge into NATO airspace? In Washington and Brussels, the tone shifted overnight. Sanctions were back on the table. Military planners updated worst-case scenarios. For the first time in months, the question wasn't just how to help Ukraine, but how to help keep this war from spilling over into global crisis. This wasn't a routine attack, it was a warning, and everyone on every side got the message. By dawn, the skies over Ukraine fell eerily silent. Smoke drifts above Lutsk, where a factory took a direct hit. In Ternopil, rescue workers pull civilians from collapsed homes, faces gray with dust and fear. Official reports confirm at least one dead, dozens injured, and hundreds displaced. Hospitals run on backup power. Roads are blocked with debris. Schools cancel classes, not just for damage, but because families are too shaken to send their children back. Volunteers hand out water and blankets at overcrowded shelters. But amid the rubble, a strange feeling lingers. Defiance. Ukraine's air defenses didn't crack. Of 728 drones, 718 were neutralized. 7 out of 13 missiles never made it past the shield. Against the largest air assault of the war, Ukraine stood its ground. In the streets, people share images. Fiery trails of intercepted drones, the sharp glow of Patriot launches, the black specks scattered in empty fields. Social media fills with hashtags. For soldiers, the night's success is a proof of resilience. For civilians, it's both a relief and a warning, because they know the next wave is coming. Internationally, calls grow louder. President Zelensky demands tougher sanctions on Russian oil. European leaders pledge more aid. American officials underline their commitment to keep advanced defenses flowing. But beneath the political statements, one truth is crystal clear. Ukraine's survival depends not just on systems, but on stamina. And after a night like this, both will be tested again. As the sun rises over a battered but unbroken Ukraine, one thing is clear. This wasn't the last wave. More drones will come. More missiles will fly. But tonight, the world watched a country stand its ground and win. Patriot missiles, interceptor drones, radar jammers, anti-air batteries. It took everything Ukraine had to stop the 728 drones in their tracks. But victory has a price, and both sides are counting. So here's the real question. How long can Ukraine hold, and how far will Russia push before someone crosses a line that no one can uncross? What do you think? Is this just posturing, or are we looking at the start of something much bigger? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We do read them all. And if you want to go a step further and support our channel directly, please join the fleet. You get loyalty badges, priority responses, and help us bring more true maritime and military stories to the surface. Click join on our channel page and get on board. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay curious, and remember, in a world where one night can change everything, knowledge is your best defense. We'll see you in the next mission.